Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to News Hour Live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. My name is Shirley Annan. The Pristiahuni municipality, in collaboration with NADMO and other corporate entities, are putting finishing touches to Dumasi near Apiate to settle displaced persons from last Thursday's explosion at Apiate. This will give government time to redevelop the destroyed community. The Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Works and Housing, as well as members of the Western Regional House of Chiefs, were at the new site to assess the progress of work. Desmond Kujo was there and joins us online with an update. Desmond, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Now, how ready is the new camp to resettle the displaced persons?
Well, work is progressing. Actually, it should have been finished about 3 days ago to resettle the people there temporarily. The delays and the on-construction, we are told by the works engineer, Mr. Josh Scott, that bearing any unforeseen challenges will be completed tomorrow for the people to resettle from where they are temporarily holding on at the Carlo Parish for individual homes.
Now, how are the victims faring after the disaster?
Oh, yes, we spoke to a couple of them when we got there this morning. And to them, they are being well treated, well cared for medically. Their medical teams on standby to attend to everybody. Relief items are also being given. But the only challenge that they have is that those who are not in the organized places, but staying with relations and family members in Bogoso town, they are not being catered for as those in the camps. So that is where the challenge is, because by the time they can, they share some of the items. So this is one of the concerns that came up this morning.
So what are authorities doing about this situation where some people are living with relatives in Bogoso and not getting any of the relief items?
Yeah, when we spoke to Dr. Azizatmani, the municipal chief executive, he indicated that they are doing the census to get the full data, they will be able to attend to everybody. But he believes if the people are all at one camp, where work is ongoing, when they are all there, then it will be easier for them to distribute the relief items and attend to the needs of everybody who has been displaced because of the disaster. Now,
on the news, we know that the place is flooded with well-wishers and a lot. How is it being distributed?
Well, for now, there's a committee from the assembly comprising chief, assembly members, and community members, and they are taking charge of all donations coming in. As we speak, we have lots and lots of donations coming from various institutions and organizations. And yesterday, for instance, Casa Cooperative Limited showed the notes of their products, weak water, fruit blends, and others. The insurance companies are there with a lot of items. House of Chiefs are also there to assess the situation and come out with their donation and support. Mining companies and others are all coming on board to provide the relief items to the people.
Are there any concerns by the chiefs or the people who are affected by this explosion?
Yes, this morning there was a mini debate in honor of the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, as well as the Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Francis Subache. And Namata will be the chief of before, who is an overlord of the area. He is concerned about rumors and claims about the cause of the incident. He is calling for transparent investigations into the issues, because he believes that information being bandied about not actual reflection of what's transpired. So he's calling for inclusive investigation, where it will be open for the chiefs and people who are at the scene of the incident to also come out to tell the truth of what they saw and not just the rumors.
Now, that's one. Before you go, any other thing you'd want us to know? And life after the explosion, I mean, after the relief items and the promises of resettlement, what are the people of Apiate expecting and what are they saying?
The only issue that I can report about is that officials from the Minerals Commission and others are still on the ground. They are doing many investigations to look into the issues. So that is all that we can say for now.
Thank you very much, Desmond. Desmond Kujo is a Western Regional correspondent reporting from Apiate. You're still watching News Hour Live on GBC News. Yesterday, January 25, 2022, the government initiated the Apiate Support Fund to be managed by a 5-member committee. The committee is to oversee the mobilization of funds for the survivors of the explosion and to help reconstruct the community, which is now left in debris. Almost a week ago, 13 people died when some mining explosives being transported through Bogoso got detonated accidentally. Panelists on GTV Breakfast emphasized the need for charities to help and the establishment of emergency relief funds for such disasters.
Sometimes when an accident occurs, it gives you an opportunity for those who are managers to actually start managing, and those who are damagers to actually be seen and ejected. So now that we have the accident, the managers will see what they can do to manage better, and the damagers will be seen so we can take them out of the system.
Yep.
But also, it shows us that we really don't have enough charities in this country. Charities must already exist so that when things like this happen, those charities can step in to help.
We need an emergency relief fund. It can't be that we're going to be sitting down for every disaster of this magnitude, then we'll set up a fund. Maybe there is a revolving fund. I'm not too sure. I don't know about it. Maybe through the lottery system, or, you know, government has to slap on some tax somewhere, you know, to get that done. But it should bring our minds to it. Look, when I look at this country and I ask myself, okay, we haven't had any tsunami, we haven't had an earthquake, but how coordinated are we in terms of our rescue relief, you know, and emergency relief? Where's the synchronization between all the organizations?
Sunday, January 30 is World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day. Globally, the WHO has about 20 neglected tropical diseases on its list. Ghana, which is an endemic zone, has 14 of the neglected tropical diseases NTDs. On GTV Breakfast, the head of parasitology department of the Noguchi Memorial Institute for Medical Research, Dr. Irene Ayi, explained that some environmental modifications are needed for the effective control and prevention of the neglected tropical diseases. She asserted that these diseases are poverty-related. This year's celebration is on the theme, Achieving Health Equity to End the Neglect of Poverty-Related Diseases.
Bilharzia is nationwide.
Okay.
We have it from the north to the south. Soil-transmitted helminthiasis is nationwide, but predictive maps that Noguchi, through Noguchi research, have been generated show that hookworms, for example, in the northern part, middle belt to the northern zone, has a lot of impact. For every disease, the control must not be one-sided. So for schistosomiasis, for example, and soil-transmitted helminthiasis, you have to educate the people, create awareness of how the infection can be acquired, so that sometimes people can do something themselves. We don't have to wait for government. So if the awareness is created, they are sensitized enough, they'll be able to do something about it. For example, parents can buy shoes for their children to take to school, so that when they are playing ball and they are in the soil, they will avoid being infected by these helminths. Apart from education, you have to provide sanitary water and sanitation facilities. They must wash their hands at critical times after visiting the toilet before eating, so that they don't ingest contamination from their hands of food or water. Then, like Ghana Health Service is doing, they give the medication to treat infected people. So you are controlling the parasites inside the host, but then the vectors also have to be taken care of.
Still in news, the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, RCC, is gearing up with the enforcement of the Operation Clean Your Frontage policy from February 1, 2022. All assemblies are expected to construct at least a waste transfer station as part of the policy. Hundreds of city officers were also supposed to have been trained ahead of the full implementation of the policy. All 29 assemblies in the Greater Accra region have been tasked to intensify programs on awareness of the initiative. The Lankwantanan Madina Municipal Assembly had a pilot exercise this morning to assess expected challenges that might arise during the actual implementation of the initiative in February. The MC, Madam Jennifer Jabing, is on the phone to give us an insight of the Assembly's preparations towards the campaign's takeoff. Hello, good afternoon, Madam.
Good afternoon.
Now, how was the exercise today?
Good afternoon and good afternoon to your viewers and listeners. Well, as we all know, the Operation Clean Your Frontage campaign has been on, and we are expected to do the full implementation from the 1st of February, which is about a week from today, Tuesday next week. In that regard, the Lankwantanan Madina Municipal Assembly, with other stakeholders, assembly members, market leaders, and journalist staff of the assembly, together with the media, went out to do the piloting to assess our preparedness. Indeed, it was very insightful. The experiences and feedback that we take from the ground are things that the Assembly will quickly work on. What is expected of us as our responsibility. We came back to the office, had a debriefing session on what the experience for the various groups were. We put ourselves into 3 groups and a minimum of about 30 people in a group. And we visited residents, we visited business owners, shop owners, offices.
How did, Madam,
assess their frontages, what is happening in the environment, and all that. There are areas that we went that were very unsightly, and so immediately they had to be issued the notices to update the nuisance that we encountered in the field.
What?
All this is geared towards 1st of February. On the 1st of February, the full enforcement will begin. And so we believe this conscientizes everybody and sets everybody ready for the full enforcement that will begin. And then on the 1st of February going, we are not expecting people to come up to say they did not know about it. So no excuses are expected on the 1st of February.
All right, Madam, so
we still have a few more days to do the sensitization of members within our municipality.
sure.
To still prepare them for the enforcement.
If you can hear me, how did the residents receive this exercise, especially when in some areas we heard of reports of near fisticuffs between the teams and the residents?
Well, for us here generally, I would say it went well. We did not have any encounter where residents would want to get physical with the action, partly because we have done a lot of engagement, we have done sensitization, we've gone around with our vans to do announcements, we've been to the mosques, we've been to the churches to educate them, and we continue to do that. And the basic thing that we say to them is what they know as Sama is what we are bringing. Once you say it is Sama that is back, they just say, oh, okay, Sama they say we that. Yeah, so once we do that with them, it's not new. A lot of the places that we visited, the residents that we visited, it was just once you mentioned that Sama is back, they assure us that they are going to play their part to ensure their frontages and their general environment is kept very clean at all times.
Okay, as part of the policy, the assemblies are expected to construct waste transfer stations. Has your assembly done that already?
Yes, all the assemblies are expected to provide a site. And in Lankwantana and Medina, our site is ready for the fabrication to commence. So we are very prepared with our site for the construction.
Thank you very much. We'll come back to you when we fully begin this operation, Clean Your Frontage. We've been speaking to the MC of La Nkwantanan, Madam Jennifer Ijabing, on this issue. Still in news, our key interest groups in social entrepreneurship in Ghana are advocating the approval of the Social Enterprises Draft Policy. The policy document is hoped to create a conducive environment for social enterprises or businesses to thrive by tackling various issues, including funding and advisory services. There are nearly 100,000 social enterprises in Ghana, but lack of a comprehensive framework has made it difficult to drive further growth of the subsector.
In the last 3 years, Ghana's business environment has witnessed a lot of startups. Social enterprises are businesses created to further a social purpose in a financially sustainable way. Social enterprises, apart from tackling social and environmental problems, do offer job opportunities. Their major challenges include difficulty in obtaining funding. Others are lack of access to support and advisory services. But without a definite national policy, stakeholders believe key bottlenecks affecting the growth of Ghana's social enterprise Ghana, SE Ghana, co-convened a one-day forum to update stakeholders on the social enterprise policy and financing and further share lessons and experiences on social enterprise in Ghana.
Been working on a policy framework to support social enterprise. You know, you need a policy and a regulatory framework to be able to really support the social enterprises. You know, there's a lot of discussions around access to finance and, you know, building capacity. But when you have a policy that clearly outlines these things and the hows, it really allows people to come in, it allows it to thrive.
Mr. Edwin Zukujo, the Executive Director of Social Enterprise Ghana, the umbrella body for social enterprises in Ghana, which is leading the process, says the approval of the draft policy will help improve the business environment for social enterprises.
We've been engaging government, specifically the Ministry of Trade and Industry, to come out with a policy document that we refer to as the Ghana Social Enterprise Policy, which we believe would intervene and provide a support system for social enterprises. In that document are issues around creating the Ghana Social Enterprise Fund that will directly invest into social enterprises.
Social enterprises have strong female presence, nearly 40%, making it an important outlet for female entrepreneurs.
To be an entrepreneur is very painful and lonely. And whenever you find yourself as one, don't be too scared about getting information and getting help. The help, the information, and the knowledge is what has brought me this far.
The social enterprises draft policy is in line with the government's commitment to promote and grow businesses, improve livelihoods, particularly among the youth. For GBC News, Shelley Bewa reporting.
The minority in Parliament has questioned why the Finance Committee of Parliament is not given the opportunity to engage in the consultation process regarding the Electronic Transaction Levy Bill. The bill, which was expected to be discussed by the House in the first week of the second session of the 8th Parliament, was absent after the Finance Minister requested for some time to engage in further consultations with stakeholders. The minority whip in Parliament, Alhaji Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, said the e-levy is going to affect more people and therefore the House should do what is right. The minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, is demanding the presence of the executive director of the National Identification Authority and the supervising minister of the Ghana card registration exercise in the chambers. He contends that the authority must update the House on its operations, considering the growing importance of the card in national activities. The government has been working to make the Ghana card the core identification document in Ghana. It is currently being used to register for government services like passports, as well as being merged with Social Security and National Insurance Trust. It is also required for the re-registration of SIM cards being used in Ghana. The Ghana card will also be the only recognized identification in banks and other regulated financial institutions from July 1, 2022. Farmers in the Pungu Talania community in the Kasina Nankana municipality of the Upper East region are worried about the drying up of a dam constructed over 6 decades ago by governments to support dry season gardening. The farmers need the dam to cultivate tomatoes, okra, garden eggs, onions, cabbage, and lettuce, among other green leafy vegetables during the dry season. They spoke to GBC News.
The distinctive trait of the weather pattern in northern Ghana is low rainfalls and prolonged periods of drought. So farmers in the Upper East region, unlike their counterparts down south, cannot cultivate their crops all year round. They also lose many of their livestock because the animals die of thirst in the dry season. The end result is the migration of the youth to the southern parts in search of the proverbial greener pastures. To help mitigate this problem, residents of Pungu Talania community are appealing to the government to urgently desilt the dam for them. Even though some of their crops, including garden eggs, tomato, pepper, among others, were still fruiting, they had no option than to desert their farms for animals to feed on because there was no water in the dam. Some farmers were harvesting their unmatured pepper because the dam was dry. In an interview with GBC News, a resident of Pungu Talania, Mr. Wilfred Punguyiri, said inadequate water in the dam remains a headache for farmers.
When we farm like this, the crops will come, but the water is not there. The water will normally take us about 2 or 3 months. It will finish. So it's a problem for us.
A resident of Pungu Talania, Madame Tamanga, appealed to the government for help. An opinion leader of Pungu Talania, Mr. Gordon Atingdi, similarly expressed worry.
Ghana government on boy, ya panic say on be share dump no be too my tears Ghana government. On be too dump no my na yes yan fa ya adwuma na yan boa aban no.
Mr. Alan Kwesi Nazantira is assemblyman for Pungu Central Electoral Area.
We are pleading that government should come to our aid. If they can dig down, even deep, so that the water can sustain even up to March, February, March, and then, that will also help. So that, the animals too, they used to wander for water and go astray. When they are looking for water, they go to far places, and the animals, they got missing.
Pungu Talania is a farming community with a population of over 5,000.
Petty squabbles among nurses at workplaces can negatively affect quality health care delivery. Nurses have therefore been advised to desist from the practice to ensure quality service delivery to clients. The Nadoli Kalio District Director of Health, Madam Phoebe Balagutimi, made this observation at an awards ceremony of Yapa West Regional Branch of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association at WA. Midwives and nurses provide healthcare services, including gynecological, contraceptive counseling, and prescriptions for women. They also provide healthcare for patients, communicate with doctors, and administer medicine. While some go about their duties diligently, others do not. It is for this reason that the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association instituted the awards scheme to recognize and encourage good performance. In the Upper West region, 70 nurses, midwives and union leaders received awards for their dedicated services. Mr. Ali Adam from the Wa East District emerged the 2021 Regional Best Nurse, while Patricia Na from Naduli Kalio District was adjudged the Regional Best Midwife. The regional chairman of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Mr. Lawrence Bangwim, commended the award winners for excelling in their duties in spite of the challenges. Mr. Bangwim appealed to district and municipal assemblies to support best performing nurses and midwives to continue their education. The guest speaker, Madam Phoebe Balagumetime, said the nursing profession is a noble one and that all practitioners must strive to follow the ethics for efficiency.
And our poor communication skills is something that is eating up the patients, eating up the clients. There are times we are really found doing the right things, but the fact that we do not even communicate to the client. You are at a facility and possibly you are attending to emergencies and others are lined up. What prevents you from telling them that, please, I need to attend to A, B, C, D, and to come back to you? What our clients have been saying is that you will just find the nurse walking, and when they say it in Wale, because this is something we want to correct in Upper West region. You know, we go shaking our bottles and we never tell them anything. But at least communication is key. Even in your own home, if you don't communicate, you'll be in trouble.
The Regional Director of Health, Dr. Damien Punguiri, commended members of the association for their services. He was, however, not happy with the refusal of some nurses to accept postings to deprived areas.
As the Regional Health Administration, we have often tried to distribute the human resources fairly. So recruitment and fair distribution to ensure that every district gets the required numbers. But we are often faced with refusals of some of the members to accept posting to these places. And so you have few, the only people who don't have a voice are there struggling, working 24 hours. And I think that this is unfair.
The awards program was on the theme, Rediscovering the Ethics of Nursing, a step to nursing the people of Upper East to health. The Traditional Authority of Chifu-Kotochi in the Central Region is appealing to residents home and abroad to contribute funds to complete a 10-bed capacity maternity block initiated by the chief and elders. According to them, the current maternity block of the chief's compound is in the community is in a deplorable state and lacks adequate facilities. Hence, some pregnant women are forced to deliver on the bare floor.
The Chifu-Kotochi Chief's compound is the only medical facility in the community that also serves neighboring communities. Due to the excessive demand, especially at the maternity block, the elders of the community led by the chief decided to raise funds for the construction of a bigger maternity block and a nurse's quarters. However, they ran out of funds after the foundation level. The chief of Chifu-Kotochi, Nana Samoa, appealed to the citizens both home and abroad, the district assembly and the government to come to their aid. Some of the residents complained about lack of space and the dilapidated nature of the Chifu-Kotochi Chief's compound maternity block. Meanwhile, the Member of Parliament for Chifo at Timokwa District, Mr. David Vondi, assured the residents of the area that he will do all he can to support the project.
10 bags of cement. Now, one so do any cement in the iron rod car. I want more. Young hour, my J. Because Abu, I want teacher a friends and nurses for a diabetes, you more mono tremor. It may be said,
We have more news in this package of news. Please stay with us.
Esther Aidu Ohumeu. In our first story, Goldfields is considering an investment of an approximate $500 million to extend life of its Daman mine in Ghana's western region, which runs out in 2024. The investment will allow the mine to continue operating for another decade. Goldfields Acting Executive Vice President and Head of West Africa, Mr. Joshua Motiti, said the extension of Daman's life will produce millions of ounces of gold and support further job creation.
Daman has a short mine life of 3 years. What that means is that we have to start reinvesting this year. That's going to be very significant. What we're working on is potentially to extend Daman's life for another 10 years. So that's going to be circa $500 million is going to go into reinvestment in Daman for us, and that's really for me, and I'm hoping for you as well. It's what we want to hear, that we're able to do that. But we have to first of all prove it, that we can make money in Daman to justify the investment.
The Institute of Economic Affairs says the central bank can control the country's inflation to ensure that its monetary policy will not influence high lending rates. Though a strengthening of safety net for borrowers and ensuring banks' taxes are at a minimum, the institute says the Bank of Ghana can achieve its inflation target of 8%.
Ghana has a history of high fiscal deficits. A review of fiscal performance in Ghana over the past 2 decades shows that the country has not been able to keep the government budget under control, and fiscal consolidation has not been successful. For instance, the average fiscal deficit for Ghana between 2005 and 2013 was 7.5% of GDP, compared with just 3% of GDP for sub-Saharan Africa. Wages and salaries have now swallowed government spending, which accounts for an average 9% of GDP, and its share of GDP has grown significantly over the past 3 years. The Institute of Economic Affairs, IEA, believes addressing the country's macroeconomic challenges will require an ambitious fiscal consolidation strategy in all sectors of the economy. Interacting with the media and captains of industry in Accra, a director of research at the IEA, Dr. John Kwache, said strengthening fiscal performance in Ghana will require governments gaining control over the wage bill through a conscious effort in ensuring a clean payroll system in Ghana.
High inflation and interest rates have persisted for far too long in Ghana, and these have had devastating effects on growth and employment. Now, monetary policy, unfortunately, has been ineffective, largely ineffective in addressing this problem, precisely because it is not tailored to dealing with the fundamental causes. Now, we think that a new approach is called for to ensure that monetary policy is more fit for purpose.
The Institute of Economic Affairs says it expects maintenance of the policy rate at its current level of 14.5% after the current Monetary Policy Committee meeting, which is underway. This will help to mitigate the inflation levels, which have risen sharply in the past 7 months.
From a survey conducted by the Ghana Statistical Service, 2/3 of households' incomes have not recovered to pre-pandemic levels. This is per the Ghana Statistical Service Household and Job Tracker survey carried out during the country's third COVID-19 wave.
The median expenditure on PPE, masks, sanitizers and face shields per household on the 7 days before the survey was 12.0, while the mean expenditure was 22.0. Median expenditure was slightly higher in urban areas, 14, than in rural areas, 10.3. Of the zones, both the median 15 and mean 25.3 expenditure was the highest in the coastal zone, while 68.2% indicated that their household income decreased. Of the different sources of income, non-farm family business income had the biggest reduction. 77.3% of the households with income from a non-farm family business experienced a decrease in income, and only 4.4% reported an increase in income. The 4.2% of households who got income from pension had the smallest change of this income source. 76.7%, however, reported no change in pension income, 13.0% a reduction, and 10.3% an increase. The survey indicated that approximately 86.7% of households used some sort of coping strategy to deal with the negative effects of COVID-19 since March 2020. The most common coping strategies included relying on savings, 43.0%, and reducing food consumption, 42.9%. Respondents said most types of coping strategies were used more often in 2020 than in 2021. The exception to this, the survey said, is the borrowing from friends and family and the use of credited purchases. About the shocks household experienced due to COVID-19 since March 2020, 73.4% said they experienced an increase in the price of major food items consumed, and 46.5% indicated that they were affected by the increase of the price of inputs. 58.7% of households said they were affected by the school closures, but the majority, 92.1% of households, indicated that this shock occurred in 2020. Other shocks were felt more evenly throughout 2020 and the first and second half of 2021.
We'll have the interbank and commodity figures for the day. business. Thanks for watching.